Welcome to the first 100 days of your business. We just recently went through an inauguration. And what do people do? They look at the new president, whoever that is, and everybody wants to measure their first 100 days. And so we're going to use that, and we're going to look at your next 100 days in your business to make sure that you really are behaving like the leader, not of a country, but of your company, and that you can make a significant change in the next 100 days. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that, and that is our whole topic for today. So let's go ahead and get started on the fascinating topic about your first 100 days. What we're going to do today is give you a 9-step framework that you can use to get more profit in your business in 2025. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get going. And think about this. Think about your last 100 days. How was that? Was it just the same as the previous 100 and the ones before that and before that? Has your business sort of just gone sort of flat, maybe up and down a little bit, but it's not taking off like a rocket ship? And that's what we want to have happen for you today. It's a new year, and in order for you to have a different outcome, you have to do things differently, you have to think differently, and you have to become a different kind of leader, because this is going to be one of those tumultuous years. So many new things are happening, and we want to make sure that you're taking advantage of that. So we are focusing on excellence. How can you have more excellence in your business as we go forward into the new year? So let's go ahead and take a look at the agenda of what we're going to be covering today. And so we're going to talk about why things must change and the need to be distinguished. You have to stand out from the crowd, and we want to get the timing right. If you miss timing, that can be everything, whether it's the stock market or your business or any type of activity that you're trying to do. I want to talk about something that's going to be very important going through the year, and that's like putting people first. We're going to talk about some rough seas that are ahead. Hey, we're not going to ignore it and act like it's all going to be rose petals for the year. It's going to be a little bit rough at times, and we want you to be prepared. And then how to make all this success stick. So if you're ready to go, give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Yes, I'm ready to go. Let's go talk about making this the best 100 days ever. And as we get going, I want you to start thinking about how we're going to break this down, okay? I want to think about the first day, right? Day one is so important. What if you're saying, okay, tomorrow is day one or Monday is day one? What are those first initiatives that you're going to put out there? What are the big game changer moves that you're going to make in your business? Just think about it for a minute. What would be the first thing you did if the next 100 days was going to be completely different? What's the number one thing that you would do coming out of the gate? Put it in the comments. Let me know. Put it down below. And keep in mind, I've got a lot of things that you can access from us and download and get from us. So stay tuned, because this is going to be very important for your business. So what do you do day one? And day one, I want to invite you to think about it as the first call, okay? And I would love for you to just book a call with us, right? If you're going to go for the next 100 days, but you don't have anything new, you're not sure if you're going in the right direction, maybe you want to pivot, maybe you want to start a new side of your business, a whole new business, and maybe you're looking to exit your business, whatever it is. Why not start with a call? Get somebody who is not in your business and hop on the phone with us, 10 minutes. And let's take a look at a couple things. We're going to look at where are you starting, number one, and where do you want to finish, okay? So if you're starting here, you want to finish here, right? What is the gap? What's going on in the middle? It's usually a mess that we need to fix to make sure in 100 days you hit your finish line. And if you would love to do that, I would love to hop on a quick 10-minute call with you, and there's nothing to buy, nothing to sell. But what about if you could get out of the gate right? You don't want to start on, if you watch like the Olympics and when they have the track races, right? And who are the best runners? The best runners are always in the center lane, and that's where you want to start off. You don't want to be on the outside where you have a disadvantage. So if you get yourself centered first, it's going to make a huge difference in your business. So this is how we're going to break this down today. We are going to look at the 10, 30, 60, and 90-day marks. So the first 10 days, what do you need to do in the first 10 days? That's where we're going to focus on the build. Over the next 30 days, we're focusing on the fix. And then the next 30 days, we're focusing on alignment. And then the next 30 days is the move, okay? So these are the 4 steps that you're going to go through. And we're going to keep this very, very simple. But don't think just because it's simple, it's going to be super easy. There's going to be some hard times in this. And I'm going to make sure that you understand we're going to do that in order. So day 1, book a call. Just go to callconnie.com and you have our information down there. You'll see it throughout. Just book a 10-minute call. It won't hurt. And at least you'll have some really good guidance on what you need to do next. Now, let's go to the next milestone that we want to look at. That is your first 10 days. This is where you're really going to focus on the design and development about your business. How do we get all these gears moving, right? And are you in the right place? This is where we have to build a plan, okay? Before you go running out or you just keep doing the same thing but working harder, why not have a different plan? Why not have one that's very strategic? You see, when people talk to us, and I did a workshop this morning with some amazing people, I said, what's the number one thing you need for your business? And you know what always comes up? Leads, sales, or clients, and they want a team, and they need a plan. Nobody ever has a plan, a specific plan, what to do, in what order, for how long, and to know the outcome before you start. And that's really why we're doing this 100 days for you. So let's talk about building a plan. And so I want you to understand, when you're looking at building your own plan, I want you to think about your mission. What is the mission that you're trying to accomplish? And you can start with a founder-led activities, right? Then move on to science-led outbound motion, right? Think about, okay, what do I need to do as a leader? And then how do I back that up with the science and the technology to make that work? So we're going to connect all these ideal tools together and create the perfect, predictable outcome, all right? And so you can have this all happening with all the new technology that's coming on board, all the new AI, and you can do a lot of this outbound marketing a lot easier if you just follow some of the guidelines. And that's what you want to figure out is, what is my strategy? Am I going to use the new technologies? Or am I going to stick with what I'm doing? Do I know how? Do I know why? Okay, so why don't we move forward? You have to know, what's my mission? What am I trying to accomplish? And we want you to start thinking from the position of being the founder. This is the first 10 days that you really want to establish this. So what are you trying to get? What are the milestones that you want to have? And what are the roadmaps that you're going to go through? So if you take a look at this, this could be a little overwhelming just to look at it, right? So what we want to show you here with this is that you need to break it down, okay? And break it down into a structure that you can follow. And so what's the structure that we use to get to where you need to be? So we're always talking here about taking your business from 6 figures to 7 figures in 1 year or less without all that stress and struggle and overwhelm that most people are going through. And so there's a roadmap, right? So if you have a roadmap that you can follow, and you can look at something like, okay, this is where I'm going to start. These are the 3 or 4 big main pillars that I need to accomplish. And then how do I get there? And if you could follow a simple roadmap like that, and that'll take you from 6 figures to 7 figures in 1 year or less. Look how simple and easy that's laid out. And so this is one of the reasons I want you to hop on a call, is because then we can create your roadmap. This is called the GPS. It's the way that you're going to navigate. And if you know the exact steps and you have just the right amount, this is what we use from science with Occam's razor, right? Which means that when you look at all of the things that you can do, you narrow it down to the simplest way, nothing more and nothing less. And so we always use concepts of physics in what we're designing in your business so that it's not just theory. You're like, I think that sounds good, or they're doing that, right? And you want to have the knowledge, but you want to be able to back it up and to know that if I'm going to go out in this plan and put some time into it, that it's actually going to work. So imagine that the things are actually working. So the first parts of these plans is that you need to have the milestones. What are the milestones? So that you know you're going along at the right pace. And then in the background, what you see here is a roadmap. And that roadmap if you want either of these, just type down below milestones or roadmap, and we'll get those to you. And that roadmap takes you all the way from starting off in the red all the way through exactly what you need to do, all the actions you need to take, all the way up to a $100 million business. Hey, who wouldn't like that? But what if you don't know, right? If you don't understand what's all included and what's going to happen, you're probably not going to move forward. You will have a subconscious block if you don't know the next thing that you're going to do. This is why these are so important. And it's the first 10 days. I spent a little time on that because it really, really matters. So in addition to your roadmaps and your milestones, you want to keep a scorecard so that you know what are the leading indicators, the things that I need to know by doing these, who's doing those, what's the outcome, right? And so what is the structure of that? If you don't have a formula like this, if you don't have your own scorecard, then I highly recommend you get one. So your scorecard will help you to look for patterns. What are the patterns? And what are the different measurements that you're going to take? And so these scorecards are really important so that you always know where on the map are you. I'm over here, and I'm trying to get over here, right? How close, how far are you? How do we fill that gap? Make sense? Fabulous. Okay, I'm going to keep moving on. So now that you know these milestones, these roadmaps, the scorecards, what are you looking for? How do you measure all of this? And make sure that you're progressing forward and tracking all these systems. So 3 things I want you to think about. This is like the 80-20, right? The Pareto principle. What is that 20% that's going to make all the difference? And I want you to think about 3 things. Number 1, when you look at all these things that you're tracking in your plan, are you compliant? Is your team compliant? Are people actually doing it? Or are you just writing these things down? I really should do this. I really should do this. And 4 months goes by and you've done nothing. You whenever have that happen to them, it happens a lot. And then the frequency. Like if this item is supposed to happen, let's say you want to market on LinkedIn, and you should be doing that every day. But are you only doing it every week, every 2 weeks, or whenever you think about it? So that frequency is something that you want to measure. And the third thing is the outcome. What's the outcome that happened from the actions that I took? And if the outcome is not what you want it to be, then you have to go back to the drawing board. You have to figure out what is wrong. Why is that happening? Is it the frequency? Is it the compliance? Is it the plan? Is it the people? Okay, we're going to get to the people part of this. That's your first 10 days. Some of you can build those plans faster. Some of you would take forever. So please book a call. Just go to callconnie.com and we'll help you out with that plan. Next thing you want to do, let's look at the next 30 days. Okay, and this is where we're going to look at our processes. How are we going to go from step A to step B? Okay, where are you going to be focused on? And I want to point this out first. What are the frustrations? What are you struggling with right now? We're fixing what's broken, and we want to say, what is it? What don't you have control over in your business? Is the profit a problem? You're making money, but it's going out just as fast as it's coming in. That's a big problem. So many people are focused on revenue instead of profit, and that's a big problem in your business. The other thing is the people. Are they the right ones? Do you need more? Do you need to get rid of some? When you get rid of them, that's an exit, right? And we call it an iconic exit. If you need to get rid of some of your people, talk to me. We have a way to be able to do that without causing any chaos or disruption in your company. And then what about maybe you've hit a ceiling, like, hey, I've done everything I can. No matter what I try, I can't keep going up anymore. And that could be in your own career. It could be in your own business. It could be against your competitors. Like, why is everybody else moving and I'm not? And maybe nothing's working, but you just keep doing the same thing, right? You're still in the rowboat, but you've only got one oar in the water and you just keep going around in circles. These are the frustrations that you really have to address and figure out, what do I have to focus on? The other thing is visibility. Where are you? How are you as far as getting out there? Are people even seeing you? Or you're like, oh, not yet, or I don't want to be seen as this way. I don't want people to think of me like this. A lot of people do that with email. Like, yeah, I don't want to email people too much because what if they don't like it? Oh, okay, that's a whole other show. But how's your visibility? Are you getting enough? Are you out there? And take a look, like, what's going on with your website? Is it anything that you're even proud of? Do you have one? Is it the right messaging? Is your headline any good? What are you doing? If you need some help with a website, just go to thefunnelgallery.com. We've got tons of websites there for you. You can model it or you can use it. You can have us build it for you. You can just take it like a template and just get something out there in the right way, right? So think about that. How visible are you? And if you are visible, what are you wearing? Like, what are you putting out there, right? Or are you like the emperor with no clothes? So visibility is very important. And so let's take, for example, the example of Dollar Shave Club. And so you want to talk about virality, right? And visibility. Where are you going? How are you getting out there? And here's the example I wanted to show you on this. And it's really quite interesting is when you think about being visible, where are you putting your information? How is it getting out there? So if you don't know the story about Dollar Shave Club, they started in 2012, right? And they had a miraculous story that I'm going to tell you about in a second. So what did they do? They picked a place where they could go viral. And when they looked at all the places, they thought YouTube is the place that we want to do that. And they invested in that. And they invested about $4,500 to make a video. Sometimes it just takes one, right? Now, what they also did, which is what a lot of people miss, is number 3, is they made sure that they had really good product market fit. Okay. Whereas the message that you're putting out is the match to what the audience needs. So do you know their problem? Do you know the outcome that they want? Or are you just talking about the solution, your widget, your thing, and you're so in love with your own product that you're not even paying attention to what the audience needs? And this is where they were amazing. And they made that message both educational and entertaining. Okay. Now, the next thing that they did is they actually got about $1 million worth of funding, but they didn't announce it yet. They waited and they timed it all. Remember we talked about timing earlier? The timing is very important. And they timed it to their video launch with that announcement. And then they also relaunched their website at the same time. So you see how this was all basically a perfect storm, right? They put all these pieces together and they had some great ads. And people are like, wow, well, that's different, okay? So what are the results, right? We talk about outcome. They had some amazing results with that. In just a few days, I want you to take a closer look at this. In just a few days, the media started picking up on these ads, right? Our blades are effing great. That was something different back then, right? Now it's kind of all over. But timing is perfect. And it only took 72 hours for that to go viral. They got 12,000 new customers in 2 days. Can you imagine your business if you got 12,000 new customers? It'd be mind-blowing, right? The question is, can you handle it? Do you have the fulfillment? Do you have everything set up? So this first 100 days, what we're talking about doing is amazing marketing, just going full board on everything, right? Go all out there following your plan. And if your plan is great and you got 12,000 customers, could you handle it? That's what the plan is for, right? That's why we're doing this in a specific order. Hope this is making sense for you, okay? Now, so amazing story, isn't it? That was in 2012. You want to know what happened from just going out strong like that? They sold 4 years later for $1 billion to Unilever. $1 billion. I mean, there's some other places that sold for $1 billion, like Instagram and things like that. A shave, like a little razor, $1 billion in 4 years. So you never know how great something can be. This is the power of having a 100-day strategic plan. And so I hope that gets you a little excited about what could happen for your business. So now let's go into the next 30-day block. Now we're at the 60 days. And in this first 60 days, this is where we need to really focus on quality. And this is where we have to align the people. And this is not just your customers. There's all elements of people in your business, right? So I love this quote from the founder of Four Seasons, okay? And what he said, which I think is so apropos for what we're talking about, is that you want to systemize the predictable so that you can humanize the exceptional. And what that means is make sure all your systems are in place, but you don't want to ignore the human element. Then you can really shine because your people are not just focused on trying to fix things or make everything work or spinning a whole bunch of plates. They're actually focused on the audience. Who is your customer? Who is your client? So think about that. How can you get everything systemized so it's so predictable, it runs like clockwork, and then you can focus on blowing the minds of your people? And that's really what matters, and that's how you can have really great, loyal, high-ticket clients. And so that's what you're going to build, is these systems, right? And when you're building these out, you have to make sure that they're going to work. So when you build it out as a leader, first thing you do is, especially if you're introducing something new, you want to focus on the training part. That's step one, is get everybody trained on this process and this new plan that you're going to put out there. And then you need to be able to track it. And we talked about that in the first 10 days, having those metrics, having those scorecards, so everybody's on the same track. Everybody can see full transparency what's happening in your business, and you can see if you're on track and off track. And everybody has their own area of responsibility. So nobody can hide and say, oh, I did my thing. No, it's all going to be visible there. And then tutor. Then you want to measure and track those and then say, hey, let me help you fix these, right? You need to be instructing them not on how to do it, but how to get these numbers, help these people manage their roles and responsibilities. And then as you're looking at all of these numbers, then you want to make sure that you're tweaking it and you're getting everything perfect, right? Just little iterations here and there. And this is, again, think of Occam's razor again, keep it simple. This is sort of your flywheel of leadership. Is you train, you track, you tutor, and then you tweak. Very, very simple. When you're trying to go out and do an outreach campaign or process and network with all these people, what is this same sort of 4-step process? You're seeing a pattern here, right? Everything is enforced. That's the SOAR formula. So you want to figure out, how do I connect with people? And so first you want to have those quality connections. How do you make sure that you're reaching the right people? And then make the reach out. What are you going to say? Has to match what their problem and their outcome is. Book a call and then do the ask. This is what I need. Again, don't overcomplicate this. Most people are trying to get too fancy and too complicated, and then they're realizing, oh, it's not working or I'm overwhelmed. It's because you're doing too much. Simple, simple, simple. And so these are looking at all the different ways we're going to talk to the people, our internal team, right? We have the external clients, we have vendors, right? And so once we're out there, we're talking to all these people, we're getting everybody in alignment with our message, and we are aligning our message with their problems and needs, then how do we convert those, right? And if you look at it almost like a funnel, these are the different stages of what you're going to go through to make sure that you can convert all of the people that you're talking to. If you are having a hard time closing your sales, or it takes way too long, or you start dropping your price just to get a sale, or the sales go out, the offer goes out, you do the ask, but you didn't have a plan. And then that offer goes out, poof, somewhere into a black hole, and you just sit there wondering, well, I haven't heard back. That's not leadership. That's not how you're going to have to act in this next 100 days. So this is how you're just going to go through the different steps to maximize your client conversions. And it's, again, really simple. Once you have that initial discovery, then you go through the next 4 steps. Any of this, if you need some help with, just book a call. And it's very simple. There's no harm, no foul. This is a 10-minute call. Okay, I'm not going to charge you. I can't even sell you anything in 10 minutes, but I do want you to do it. Okay, so how can you put all of this into action? Is just go to callconnie.com, very simple, or just call the number there on the screen and we can help you. You can go on our website and click a book a call. So it's very simple, but the thing is you have to take action, right? It's only 100 days, and we're going to do a couple of these 100-day things back to back to back. Right? And this is, again, how we take businesses from 6 figures to 7 figures in 1 year or less. It's the exact same formula that I've used in 32 different companies or types of industries, as well as my own companies and building 5 multi-million-dollar companies from scratch. Even though they were all in different industries and I didn't know anything about them, I just thought this is a good timing for this industry. So timing is a big aspect of it. But once you have the timing and you know it's something you're passionate about, then do you actually have a plan? If you're just escaping what you used to do, that's not going to help you either, right? Like, oh, I want to do something different. This isn't working. Chances are you didn't have a really good plan. So we want you to book a call. And now let's go into your first 90-day window. Okay, this is where we're talking strategy. The reason this is so important, I save it for the end because it is the thing that most people miss. Why do people miss it? Because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to build a strategy. Most people haven't had a strategy that worked that they can duplicate. And what we like to tell people is that when you're looking at your 100 days or any plan in your business, you want a strategy that you can stick with, that's predictable, that you can track and you can measure, and you can easily tweak without causing chaos in your whole business. And then if you build a big business, if that's your goal, go to $1 million with your one thing, with your one singular focus. Build that up to $1 million, then add more. Don't start adding in multiple businesses. If you're doing 2 or 3 businesses, you're going down the wrong road. We got to pick one or combine it into one business and turn that into $1 million and then continue to grow. If you're dividing it out, like I have this business and this business, you're hurting yourself and you're hurting your bank account. And if you think, well, I don't know which one to pick or I want both, okay, call me. We'll figure it out, okay? And a lot of people say, well, what happens in this call? What do you do? So we'll talk for 10 minutes and then if you need more help, 10 minutes, if I can help you or really break it down for you and give you a strategic plan, if that's what you want, this is how it looks. And the reason I'm showing you this is because you also want to have, if you're moving forward, right, and you've got to get everything in motion, one of the things you need to do in your own business is you want to have a weekly meeting with your team. And a lot of people don't know how to have these, or they hate meetings. And some people just do, oh, we're going to do a 5-minute stand-up, but you still need at least a weekly meeting to take all of this information that we're talking about over the 100 days and put it into play. And so this is the structure of all meetings. And some meetings are 30 minutes, some are 40, 90 minutes, right? You don't need anything longer than that. Weekly meeting, if you have, let's say, 10 people, probably going to be around 90 minutes. If you have 2 or 3, you can probably do it in 45 or 60 minutes. And you need to know what is going to happen. This is the exact same thing. If you want to have a strategic call with me and have me work with you and create a business plan that you can do for your next 100 days, this is what it would look like. And so there's a cadence to your meetings, right? And so what we do is we start with a SOAR review, and we talked about this. This is our formula. So we always start there. And then what are we going to do? We're going to look at the profit. What's going on in the business? What are the numbers that are there that are not there? If we don't know where we're starting, and if I can see numbers, then I can see exactly sometimes in a couple seconds what the big problem is. Then we have to look at what is the action plan that we're going to take? What's the task that we need to get done in order to sort of finish up what we're working on, but prepare us for the next step. And then what we will look at is an exact strategic plan. Give me something that I can take and I can walk through the rest of the year and say, this is what I need to do, when and how and with who. Wouldn't that be great? Just to have that confidence that everything is taken care of. And this is the same formula that you're going to use in your weekly meetings, the same cadence, okay? And then notice it's heavily weighted on the strategy part. And then a summary, okay? So great, here's everything, and now this is what we're gonna do going forward. And if you look at the breakdown of it, this is our 4 square methodology, right? The first 3, as we're doing a quick review, it's just 4 minutes of feedback and where are we? Then we spend 44 minutes on the strategy and another 4 minutes on the summary. Easy, right? You can do this in your own business. That's actually a 60-minute call right there. You have everything, right? So imagine how much more confident you'll feel in your business if you could outline all of that. So we're talking now in this last 90 days about making the right moves, getting your strategy outlined, and then where are you going to do this, right? A business is 80% marketing, 20% closing, and you really want to make sure that you have all of this down. So you want to figure out, what is the market, right? We talked about websites and presence and visibility and the timing, but where? Where are we going to go out there? We have to connect with people and we have to go to where they are. And what I've done here in this grid, I want you to take a close look at that, is what this will show you. And you can take a screenshot of this if you want to. What it shows you is what are the things that cost very little at the top and then they cost a lot more at the bottom. So in this 4-square grid, right, what are the things that you can do that'll have really fast results? And then over on the other side, what are the things that you would do that would take a longer time? And I love this because if you really look closely at this, think about the different ways that you were going to market and what were you thinking of doing in your business. So if you look at this, maybe you're going to say, oh, I want to start a podcast. Well, that's awesome. Podcasts are great and great visibility, but it's on the slow side. Okay. It's on the less expensive side, but it's also on the slower side because there's a lot of things to it. Maybe you're going to do some organic outbound, right? It's very fast. Don't have to worry about the money. Maybe the growth loops. Growth loops are real important. I'll talk about that more later. Are you thinking about SEO? Where does that fall into place? So this is broken down into the marketing, the growth, the sales. Is it paid, non-paid, organic, right? And now that you can see what quadrant everything falls into, now you can strategically decide which marketing channels am I going to use. And so I wanted you to see this because it's a great tool to really look at visually, like a 30,000 foot view over your business. Why are you going to that market? It's going to cost a lot more. It's going to be a lot slower, right? I always like to say 2 ways to grow a business. One is slow, one is fast. Which one do you want to do? Having owned racing companies, we like to do everything fast. And when you do everything fast, you have to be really good and efficient. You can't have a lot of parts and pieces, right? You can't build your business machine trying to go fast like a couple going off on their wedding where they have all these strings and cans and balloons and streamers coming off. There's so much drag to that. You can't go fast. And so you want to have a business that has a very low drag coefficient. There's not a lot of things slowing you down. When you do that, you're going to love how much money piles in your bank account. Now, again, in this move phase, in the final 90 days of my 100-day plan, you want to focus on what really matters. Yes, you're going to grow your revenue, but you must also keep your profits. And what we always like to say is revenue is vanity. You can talk all day long about how much money you made, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't go in the bank. Profits are sanity. And when you're thinking about this plan, you want to look at a couple things like what is going on with my revenue, what's going on with my profits, and what is going on with the valuation of my business. Is my business increasing? Because at some point you're going to want to let it go and turn it over or sell it or whatever. So you have to also look at all three of those factors. And profit is what we like to focus on for you. So if all of this is making sense, even if it's overwhelming, you're like, oh my God, that was too fast. Watch this again, okay? And think about, how do I get my plan done? Do I know how to do this? Is this something I've done over and over and over? It's easy? Or you're like, I need some help. I want someone to help me out. I would love to help you out with that plan. Just go to callconnie.com. We'll talk for about 5 or 10 minutes and decide. I'll point you in the right direction, exactly where you need to go. If you want us to design that strategic plan for you, it's going to be a little longer call, and you saw exactly what that would take. Okay, so what we want you to do is we want you to win the game. If you don't have the right method, if you don't have the right business model, then you also won't earn the big money. Okay, you need to make sure that you have the model. And this is why, as a business growth strategist, we're so successful at taking businesses from 6 to 7 figures, because we give you a model that you can count on to work. All you have to do is follow the 4 steps. All of our models are broken down into 4 steps. So if you want to have a meeting and you want to figure out what do I need to do and how do I put all this into play in my next 100 days so that you don't waste half of that and you're still trying to figure it out 50 days in. We're already a couple weeks into the year. So what are you going to accomplish in your 100 days? What is the big thing that you can do? And can you do it on your own? Or do you like to build a fast business instead of a slow business? We can help you build it fast and do it without any of the stress or struggle or overwhelm. So go to callconnie.com. We'll help you build all of this out. And of course, come back the same time, 5 p.m. Tuesday, Pacific time, and we will give you another strategic process and strategies that you can use to grow and scale your business in record-breaking time. We will see you next week. Have fun and